You know what sucks more than losing the Pac-12 championship game in Las Vegas? Nothing.
You are Locked On Trojans, your daily podcast on the USC Trojans, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Fight on, everyone. I'm your host, Mark Holkin, and thank you for making Locked On USC your first listen every day. Whether you're watching on YouTube or wherever you like to download your podcast, as a reminder, we are free. And I want to thank you all for coming along. I hope you're enjoying the show. If you're watching on YouTube and you haven't done so already, why haven't you? But I'm going to give you a chance to hit that red subscribe button. It will mean a whole heck of a lot. And to those of you who already have, thanks again. All right. So, wow. What looked like it was going to be a night of joy and celebration turned out to be a night of what could have been. Yeah, if you haven't heard by now, USC lost the Pac-12 Conference Championship game badly. 47-24 was the final score. And you would never know that the USC actually wasn't in command when you see that final score. At one point, USC was up 17-3. They'd scored on their first three offensive possessions. And then things kind of got out of control. But it got out of control before it was 17-3. However, you didn't think it was going to spiral into the abyss. So USC was up 17-3, and then before you knew it, USC lost for just the second time all season. And this time, there were no refs to blame. There were no missing players on the defense that could have made a difference against a one-point loss. This time, USC simply got their butts beat, plain and simple. It happened on both sides of the line of scrimmage. With that said, give credit to Utah. They came, they saw, they took what they wanted. But again, with that said, there was one small, tiny, extenuating circumstance that did contribute to the game, to the outcome. But again, let's give credit where credit is due. Utah are your back-to-back Pac-12 conference champions. Because championship teams are able to overcome injuries and depth issues, and that's what Utah did with their running game, as well as playing with players who are less than 100%. That's what championship teams do. Again, with that said, for anyone who doesn't think that Caleb Williams tearing his hamstring on the 8th offensive play of the game for USC didn't play a role in the outcome, well, I need you to stop listening and watching the show and just go away, because you're not being honest with yourself, and you're probably not going to have an open mind. I get it. Some of you out there, stuff happens, doesn't matter. But when we're talking about a player who can by himself control an outcome of the game, it does make a difference. And I think even the most rabid Utah and even the most rabid Utah and biggest Lincoln Riley, Caleb Williams hater from Oklahoma should be able to admit that it makes a difference when your starting quarterback is less than 100%. So on the very first play of the game, Caleb ran for an 11-yard run, first down. And then shortly thereafter, he found Taj Washington on a couple of pass plays, one for, I believe, 58 yards. And then the next play, quick little 2-3 yard pass. USC was up 7-0 before the seats were warm. By the way, everybody's seats were filled, or pretty much filled by the time the game kicked off. So props to Utah and USC fans for making this game sold out. It gave a great atmosphere, and Allegiant Stadium is really loud, so I appreciated that from a fan perspective. On USC's next possession, Caleb dazzled Las Vegas. I mean, he showed everyone why he's going to win the Heisman in a couple of weeks. When he ran for, it was a 59-yard run. He zigzagged, he ran over, he ran through, he ran around. It was just an incredible Heisman type of run, but he also on that play tore his hamstring. It was, it was obvious something was wrong because on the very next play, they actually took a delay of game, and then something, because I don't know whether he was tired, he needed to get his bearings. Something was off, something was amiss. So delay a game, and then you also knew something was wrong when on a play when USC was up 14-3. He handed the ball up to Austin Jones on one of those RPO type of plays, and the middle was wide open for Caleb to keep the ball. He didn't. Ended up going for a loss. USC had to settle for a field goal to make it 17-3. It was a missed opportunity there, but it was a sign of something was not working right for Caleb. Offensively in the game, USC was terrible converting on third downs. Part of that was a result of Caleb's injury. His legs are a huge asset. Third and short, even third and medium, third and long, Caleb can get a first down with his legs. If not by running for the first down, by extending the play. He was not able to do that after his long run. And that's when the momentum in the game shifted. On that third down, when USC couldn't convert on third downs, Utah sensed something was up. They noticed that Caleb wasn't running the offense the way he normally does. They saw it. People in the stands saw it. The media up in the press box saw it. Here's a key moment when the game really shifted. Utah had the ball at their 25-yard line after Alex Stadthaus had kicked off. And then there was a penalty that backed up Utah, so they were going to start off 1st and 15. There was a play where Bryson Shaw had a chance. He just missed a pick six opportunity. And then on the very next play, Max Williams got beat, but he recovered quickly enough to knock the ball away, forced the fumble. Bryson Shaw recovered. USC had the ball at the Utah Utes 39-yard line. So with just under 12 minutes to play, USC, they had a chance to, put a dagger into the Utes with another touchdown score. Instead, they gained a total of 2 yards, and then on 4th and 8, they gave up the ball. It was literally a wasted opportunity, and it was a huge momentum shift. Utah took USC's wasted opportunity, and they went on to proceed on an 11-play, 63-yard drive in 6 minutes and 33 seconds, and they scored a touchdown. All of a sudden, now it's 17-10. There was just under 4 minutes left in the game, and remember, Utah they deferred, so they were going to have the ball to start the second half. So when USC got the ball back, still up by a touchdown, they went 3 and out. And after the punt, Utah had the ball. There was about 1:40 left in the half, and they were at their own 19-yard line. Well, the USC defense, they were doing a good job up until that point. They had held Dalton Kincaid. Yeah, you remember him from the last time. He did not have a catch until that 1:40 left in the first half. Well, with that first catch, it just things just started matriculating down the field for Utah. As Hank Stram would say back in the day, they took In a minute and 33 seconds, they went 14 plays, and they got the game-tying touchdown. And remember, they were going to have the ball to start the second half. So up until that point, USC's defense had gotten the job done. They even had a big stop early where they forced a field goal. But with Caleb and the USC offense kind of being lost in the second quarter, I think the defense was finding themselves on the field more, and they wore down. Literally, USC's offense disappeared after their third possession when they had 17 points. But you got to give credit to the Utah defense for recognizing that USC's offense wasn't making any adjustments when Caleb got hurt. Because let's be honest, without Caleb's legs, they started applying more and more pressure, and they were bringing it up the middle. They were stopping USC's run game, and because Caleb, they were getting pressure on Caleb. It wasn't allowing him to move around or allow USC to run into their long developing type of pass plays. They were on top of him. They were on top of Caleb pretty quickly from the snap. And a lot of that had to do with the play calling and waiting till running the play clock down. The defense can see the play clock at the other end of the field behind Caleb. When there's less than 4 seconds on that play clock, you can time it up when you see the hand clap coming. Sometimes you need to change the snap count. So USC was held to 3 points in the second quarter and 0 points in the third before they got their fourth quarter touchdown. Once again, Utah only turned the ball over 1 time in this game. And as I showed you, it didn't hurt. USC wasn't able to convert that turnover into points. USC actually lost the turnover margin in this game. They had an interception late. Caleb also had a fumble. Eventually, USC's defense, we'll just say, starting late in the second quarter and all through basically the second half, they looked like they did in the first game against Utah. Bad tackling. They were getting beat at the line of scrimmage. They couldn't stop the Utah running game. And once Caleb was moving around like he had a stick stuck up his butt with that torn hamstring, and I don't mean that to be mean. I'm just trying to describe what it looked like when Caleb was walking and moving, running. He didn't look right. When you say he had a hitch in his giddy up, he looked like he was in pain. Yeah, we're going to get to woulda, coulda, shoulda in the next segment. But you know what? That loss didn't taste good. There was a bit of that Pete Carroll hubris when they didn't pull John David Booty against Stanford in that 41-point upset at home. You're thinking, why aren't they pulling Caleb and giving Miller Moss an opportunity? So while that didn't taste good, what does taste good are Omaha steaks. Have you ever had an Omaha steak? I have. They're really good. The quality, the convenience, and everything you need to deliver in an unforgettable holiday gift experience. You can get that from Omaha Steaks. Omaha Steaks is America's original butcher since 1917, and a holiday gift that's guaranteed to be loved. The holidays are here. Achieve gifting greatness when you give the gift of a perfectly aged, tender, and delicious Omaha steak. I've had one of these. They're really good. Whether you're grilling it, smoking them, or if you like to broil them, it doesn't matter. They come out pretty darn juicy, very tasty. Who doesn't love a good steak, right? Well, the steak experts at Omaha Steaks have put together a special curated gift packages to help take the guesswork out of gifting and make you a holiday hero. So go to omahasteaks.com and use code LOCKEDON at the checkout, and you're going to get $30 off your order. They'll send an assortment of mouthwatering favorites guaranteed to impress, like the legendary Butcher's Cut Filet Mignon, the air-chilled boneless chicken, the ultra-juicy burgers, and even easy to prepare comfort meals that are easy and ready in a flash. Omaha Steaks are ready to ship your order right away, so shop early and beat the shipping rush. Yeah. Go to omahasteaks.com and use promo code locked on, that's one word, at the checkout. Omaha Steaks is a gift from the heart, a gift that will be remembered with every unforgettable bite. Order with complete confidence today, knowing you're ordering the very best. Visit omahasteaks.com, use promo code locked on at checkout to get the extra $30 off your order. Minimum order may be required. So here's the question. Should Lincoln Riley have pulled Caleb when it was obvious that he wasn't the Caleb Williams that had led USC to 11 wins on the season? As I mentioned, it was on the 8th offensive play of the game when he ran for 58 yards. It was a huge play. I mean, it set USC up for another touchdown. Things were looking good. USC was about to go up 14-3. But again, you knew something was wrong at that time because of that delay game penalty immediately after the long run. But more than Caleb Williams, Andrew Voorhees didn't start or play in the game. That was pretty significant. And so you wonder, did the lack of having Andrew available play a role in Lincoln's decision making, or was it Caleb's decision to stay in the game? I'm going to get back to that here just in a moment. I want to just remind everybody, the offensive line that started the game, left to right. Left tackle was Bobby Haskins. Left guard was Justin Diedich. Center, Brett Nealon. Jonah Monheim was at right guard, and Mason Murphy was your right tackle. That's not how they finished the game. Remember, Voorhees was not even available. We knew that going into the game. As you know, I'm not allowed to talk about injury reports, so we had to keep that to ourselves. Justin Diedich did not look good from the beginning of the game. He's been hurt all season. I don't know if he was dinged up during the week of practice, but he looked a step slow, and he got beat on a couple plays. Again, I'm not faulting Big Daddy Diedich. He has been playing on a busted hamstring pretty much since, I don't know how long back, but pretty much the entire season. And then later in the game, excuse me, with about 8 minutes left, USC lost Brett Nealon. I'm going to assume it was an Achilles injury. When you watch it, he was backing up in pass protection. His foot got locked in the ground, a lot of weight on top of him, and his foot didn't move, and he just bent backwards. He was carted off the field. And USC at that point was down 34-24 when he came out of the game. So again, I'm wondering, your starting left guard is out. Your starting center eventually is out of the game. You're playing with a banged up MASH unit at offensive line to begin with. And you've got a 50% or less of Caleb Williams. How many teams are going to win a game, let alone a conference championship game? Not to mention, you had a defense that left all their tackling skills somewhere else besides bringing them to Las Vegas. And even with all that, they were still only down 3 points in the fourth quarter. Now, I think I know why Lincoln left Caleb in the game, despite what he said after the game. Now, keep all this in mind. And we're coming back to why Lincoln left Caleb in the game. But I want to set this up for you. Despite USC's poor tackling, and despite, they forced, I believe, 4 or 5 Utah punts. They had a fumble recovery. They were still losing, but they were only losing with, I think, by 10 with 2 minutes in the third quarter. or they eventually would be down 10 early into the fourth quarter. In that third quarter, offensively, Utah had only gained, well, I shouldn't say only gained. They had 111 yards on offense, but only 7 points. USC offensively had 1 yard of offense and 0 points. And remember, they only scored the field goal in the second quarter. So in the third quarter, USC, they had a chance to get the ball back on a 2nd and 19. But they instead of having the ball, that Utah had a 3rd and 19. Blackman had a chance for an interception. He dropped it. He was only able to get one hand up. You could say that his other arm was being held down. It was a competitive play. Mackay should have had the interception regardless, in my opinion. On the very next play, 3rd and 19, it was a costly, USC's poor tackling came back to bite them. It was costly. Latrell McCutcheon, instead of tackling Utah's wide receiver, Money Parks, he tried punching the ball out, creating a turnover. And he ran right through McCutcheon and the defense, and Utah had a 24-17 lead. He ran all the way in for a touchdown. It was a really poor execution by USC's defense. Started on the 2nd down with a drop-down interception, and on the next play, the wheels came off. Bad tackling, bad technique. If they tackle the guy when he caught the ball, he's short of the marker. Anyways, that was a perfect example of just how close USC was in this game, heading in basically the last 10 minutes of the fourth quarter. So, with 10 and a half minutes left in the game, and Caleb had a really distinct limp. He was able to find Mario Williams for I think it was like an 8-yard touchdown pass. It had taken 9 plays, 75 yards, and 4 minutes and 4 seconds off the clock. USC was in the game, down 3. Here's the thing, though. Utah's defense, they knew Caleb. He was already dead man walking at this point. And they were bringing more pressure from everywhere, up the middle, from the edges, stunts, blitzes. And they were making life really difficult for the offensive line as well as for Caleb. So in that third quarter, should Lincoln Riley have pulled Caleb Williams, given Miller Moss an opportunity to see if he could gain any yards, put the offense in a better position to score a field goal, if not a touchdown, anything? This is why I'm asking the question. Is Miller Moss at 100%? Is he better than 50% of Caleb or less than 50% of Caleb? Following the USC's, and let's be honest, it was a very humbling defeat. Not 47-24. When I say humbling, I'm talking about for the coach, for USC's coaching staff, for the defense, for the way they reacted to adversity. After the game, Lincoln Riley told the media that Caleb would not allow the head coach to take him out of the game, despite his quarterback's. I'm kind of editorializing here. Despite his quarterback's ability to walk in a straight line. Quote, this is from Lincoln, quote, I asked him at one point, I was like, are you 50%? And I mean, he was not even close to 50%. I definitely thought about taking him out, said Riley. Now, he also finished that statement, that explanation with, he wouldn't even let me take him out at the end. Now, some of that's coach speak, a little bit of hyperbole there. But I think Lincoln let Caleb make the decision in that game. He was going to finish the dance that he started with He brought Caleb to the dance. He was going to finish the dance with that girl. But again, the question is, should Miller have been given the opportunity? Today, we found out on Sunday night, or Sunday, when USC found out they'll be playing in the Cotton Bowl. Lincoln spoke about the severity of Caleb's hamstring injury. He said he's got a significant hamstring injury. It's good we're not playing probably in the next 2 to 3 weeks. Look, I think everybody knew during the game how significant it was, including Lincoln. So again, the question is, do you give Miller Moss and your offense a better fighting chance to score? I think the answer in hindsight is yes. And the bigger question is, was Lincoln allowing Caleb to call the shots, or was Lincoln just not ready to throw in the towel with Caleb? I guess we'll never find out. We'll never know. That's going to be a question that's going to linger for a while. And we're going to talk about this game a lot more this week. As you know, Locked on USC comes at you 5 days a week, and we're limited time here, and we're already running short on time. But it will be a safe bet that we'll talk about this game more, a lot more this week. So if you want to protect your family during this holiday season, at Locked on USC, we believe home should be where you and your family feel safest, especially over the holidays. This season, give yourself and your family the gift of peace and protection with the #1 rated home security system, SimpliSafe. And right now, SimpliSafe is offering Locked on USC listeners 40% off a new security system, but don't put this off. And here's why. SimpliSafe was named the best home security system of 2022 by U.S. News and World Report for a 3rd year in a row. In an emergency, you get 24/7 professional monitoring agents who use Fast Protect technology, which is exclusively from SimpliSafe, to capture critical evidence and verify the threat is real, so you can get higher priority police response. SimpliSafe is a whole home security with advanced sensors for every room, window, and door. They use high definition security cameras for inside and out, which make it smarter ways to detect emotion that alert you only when a threat is real, and even hazard sensors that detect fires, floods, and other threats to your home. So don't miss your chance to save big on my favorite security system. Get 40% off any new system at simplisafe.com//lockedoncollege today. That's simplisafe.com//lockedoncollege. There's no safe like SimpliSafe. All right. So the college football playoff committee, they really, and I mean really, did not like USC in the playoffs this year. How much did they not like USC? They dropped USC from number 4 to number 10 after their loss to Utah. We're going to assume they did not like the defense. Nobody did. USC fans didn't like it. They were embarrassed. So, I guess that's the question. Was USC really number 4? Yes, they were. They had earned it. They had climbed their way by only losing 1 game all year. And they're going to play Tulane in the Cotton Bowl. It feels like a disappointing consolation prize considering they were in the playoffs. All they had to do was win. And now you saw how TCU lost. USC, had they won, they were going to be playing Michigan in Glendale, Arizona. They would have moved up. Anyways, we're going to talk about this more throughout the week on Locked on USC. But I want everyone to remember, as disappointing as the game was in Las Vegas, and it was disappointing, USC still finished the season 11-2. They're playing on New Year's Day in a Big Six Bowl, in the Cotton Bowl against Tulane. And they better not take this team lightly. Tulane, they also had a big season turnaround. Last year, they won 2 games. This year, they finished 11-2 as well. So I guess what we're going to find out is how interested will USC be in that game? You know, who will be available, who won't be available, who's going to opt out. You know, we'll talk about that more throughout the week. And especially as we get closer. We want to take some time to really appreciate what USC accomplished in year one under Lincoln Riley. Yes, it didn't end the way the regular season didn't end the way everyone wanted. And, but I think if everyone is looking forward, looking ahead, USC they're trending in the right direction. Now they just need to continue to build on what they started. They're a year ahead of schedule. Remember, in Pete Carroll's first year, they went 6-6 and lost to Utah in the Las Vegas Bowl. But you felt a sense that things were changing. USC is well ahead of that schedule that they had in Pete Carroll's first year. They won 11 games. And now they got 4 weeks and a few days to prepare for a January 1st bowl game. All right? Let's appreciate that. So it's kind of like a combination. I talked about this. You know, USC has kind of reached where USC was in year 2 of Pete Carroll. They're going to have a Heisman Trophy winner in year 1. They're going to be playing in a major bowl game in year 1. It took until year 2 in Pete Carroll's era to reach those accolades. So enjoy it. It hurts. Trust me. I didn't want to do this show today. I literally had to let my emotion die down. But never know. I run hot and cold. We'll see what happens on the next episode of Locked On USC. But remember, when you're not making Locked On USC your first listen every day, make sure you check out Locked On Sports every day, whether it's on this app, YouTube, or wherever you download your podcast. Locked On Sports has everything you're looking for, so we'll check them out. All right. We've gone over the good. We've gone over the bad. We know that USC will not be in the playoffs in year 1. We do know they'll be playing Tulane in the Cotton Bowl. And we've got a lot to talk about in this week of Locked On USC. So until then, everyone, you know what to do, Trojan fans.